This meeting is being called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Oops. And notice of this meeting has been provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on January 4th, 2023, and was posted on Borough Hall website at www.hpborough.com and on the bulletin board of Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue in Highland Park, New Jersey, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. Fire exits are to my left and right of council chambers. Please speak into the microphone if you come up to make a comment. As mayor, I preside over the council meeting and may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement or participation in the meeting if the participant does not adhere to the 3 minutes provided to each participant for public comments, or if this statement is disruptive to the orderly conduct of this public meeting, is repetitive and not on topic that is relevant to the borough governing body. Sergeant Soden, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless. Roll call.
Mayor Foster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Canavera, Councilman George, Councilman Hale,
Here.
Council President Hirsch,
Here.
Councilwoman Kim Chohan. Here. Councilman Postelnick.
Here.
Postelnick.
Any questions on the agenda by council members?
No, Mayor.
Seeing that there's none, we're going to move on to honors and awards and presentations, swearing of officers. So at this time, I'm going to call Officer Justin Sampson, one of our newest police officers is going to be sworn in tonight. Just to let you know, there's 3 officers that we're sworn in. We're going to be sworn in, and then 1 promotion.
Right there.
So this is a special night for our police department. We get to swear in 3 brand new officers to make a promotion from sergeant to lieutenant. The 3 officers went through a pretty extensive process to get here. They rose to the top. They did an excellent job and everything. Their backgrounds are awesome. We're very excited to have them here. They've been a great fit for our department and our borough, and we're excited to see where they go. And Justin Sampson's our most senior of the 3. He comes to us from Camden County, and can't wait to see what we're going to do. He just finished his field training, so he's out on the road on his own. If you see him, stop, say hi.
Oath of office to police officers. I, Justin Sampson, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially and justly perform the duties of the office of Highland Park Police Officer according to the best of my ability. I do further solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and I will bear truth and faith and allegiance to the same, to the government established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people.
So help me God.
This is Officer Vanneman. He comes to us from Gloucester County Sheriff's Office. He's been on the road now in field training for just a couple weeks. He's a quick learner. He's fitting in well. I'm talking to him. I know he's excited to be here, and we're thankful for him.
I, Ryan Diamond, do solemnly swear
I, Ryan Denman, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform the duties of the office of Highland Park Police Officer
perform the duties of the office of Highland Park Police Officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and the same the government established in the United States
and the same the government established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
You have your own Bible? No?
No.
Oh, okay.
Officer Sika, he came on with Officer Vanneman. He came to us from Toms River as a Class 2 Special, and he's going to continue and finish his career here in Highland Park. We're excited to have him.
I, Nicholas F. Sika,
I, Nicholas F. Seeker,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform the duties of the office of Highland Park Police Officer,
and justly perform
the duties
the duties of the office of Highland Park Police Officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the government established in the United States
and to the government established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the
So
people.
help me God.
So help me God. Kind of sober? I got some support.
Lieutenant Soden came to us in 2007 from Transit Police Department. I've worked with him his entire time here. I've watched him grow from patrol officer to a sergeant, and I'm very honored to be able to promote him under my tenure as chief to lieutenant. I'm very proud of him.
I, David Soden,
I, David Soden,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
partially, and justly
perform all the duties of the office
perform all duties of the
of
office
Highland Park Police Lieutenant
of Highland Park Police Lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and
and
allegiance to the same,
allegiance to the same,
and to the government established in the United States
and to the government established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
At this time, with the overwhelming turnout and the support for the new promotion and officers, I'm going to request a 5-minute break, and we'll be back to start the council meeting in 5 minutes. Thank you. Yeah. It's a family affair.
I know, it's hot.
Oopsies.
Okay, we're back. Motion to approve minutes from regular executive session held on March 5th, 2022, and regular meeting held on March 19th, 2022, as
April.
distributed.
That's April.
April. Both April 5th, 2022, and April 19th, 2022. Roll call.
I need a motion.
Motion.
So moved. Second.
Now I need a roll call, sorry.
That's okay. Councilman Hale,
Councilman Hale.
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han,
Yes.
Councilman
Pastor.
Pastelnick.
Yes.
Now we're going to move on to council report. Councilman Pestonic.
Good evening, everyone. For my report tonight, I'm going to start off again just to reiterate some of the food shopping assistance that's going to be available, or that is available through the Department of Community Services. So there will be regularly scheduled trips on many weekdays throughout April to various grocery stores. In addition, trips may be requested at other times on weekdays as well as some weeknights and weekends. Please keep in mind a community center membership is required, which involves a $20 fee for Highland Park residents. Online foods shopping support is available to anyone who needs it, and if you need any assistance on either of these two items or would like to make a reservation for a trip, or please call 732-819-0052, and the transportation schedule is also available on the Highland Park website. Moving on to some other community services highlights. On Tuesday, April 18th, there will be a spring luncheon at 12 p.m. at the community center with musical entertainment provided by Gordon James. And then on Monday, April 17th, a special day, that's my birthday, there's a trip to the Wind Creek Casino, open to all.
He's joking.
Party time.
And summer camp registration remains open for day camp, sports, and theater camps. For any information on these or any other events that are happening in April, please visit the Highland Park website or Facebook page, or call or stop by the community center. Moving on to a couple updates on the arts. There will be in early May a yarn heart art installation on the Albany Street Bridge. It's going to be really cute. There will be little yarn hearts installed on the fencing on the Albany Street Bridge. Once that's all up and running, I think the community will be invited to stop by and check it out. It should be very nice. The theme behind it is promoting building bridges to connect with people on a larger scale. So stay tuned for further details. I will provide those as we get closer. And then last but not least, I mentioned this last time and I had the chance to stop by the library to check it out. Also very cute is this beta fish art exhibit that the Highland Park Art Commission's Gorilla Art Club put together. So it's got adorable little clay beta fish in bowls. Sad side to it is that these bowls, and these tiny little bowls with little clay fish in it, are designed to raise awareness about how these bowls that these fish are commonly placed in are just too small for them. So, but I do invite everyone to go check that out, and that is my report for this evening.
Thank you. Councilmember Chohan?
Yes, I do have a report. As we move forward and wrapping up the reval process at this point, if you need to go through any appeals or so, you will have to appeal with the county tax board. Since we are in a reval reassessed municipality this year, the filing deadline is May 1st, 4:15 p.m. And if the last day appeal falls on a Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday, the last day should be extended to the first succeeding business day, but I believe the first is on a Monday. The appeal must be physically received by the board office to be considered timely filed. Anything received after the deadline will be considered untimely filed and will be stamped with the date the tax board received and will be returned along with a judgment stating untimely filed. Also, the appeal applications cannot be faxed or emailed, and they must be postmarked prior to the 1st. You can receive more information at www.middlesex.gov/government/department/Department of Finance /Department of Taxation. And you can also still make appointments with our tax assessor here, Thomas Mancuso, before you even go through the process. Therefore, he would be aware when your file comes over. And tonight on the agenda, we do have the resolution for the introduction of the 2023 municipal budget to schedule our public hearing for May 2nd. I know the borough administrator has some last minute details from the county regarding the budget, but be on the lookout. So the public hearing is scheduled for May 2nd. Representatives Frank Pallone and Ted Lieu are hosting the East Asian Community Roundtable tomorrow, April 5th, 2023 at 5 p.m. at the Edison Senior Center, 2963 Woodbridge Avenue in Edison. The purpose of the event is for attendees to have an opportunity to hear from both members of Congress about the work they are doing to support the East Asian community, and have an opportunity for you to join in on the conversation with them. Hope to see you there. And wishing our residents celebrating a peaceful Passover and Easter. And that's my report, mate.
Thank you. Councilmember Hill?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I wanted to say thank you and welcome to our new officers, Officer Sampson, Vanneman, and Sicca. Very happy to have you with us, and also to congratulate Lieutenant Soden on his promotion. Well deserved on that. Thank you to all of those. As Councilwoman Kim Chohan mentioned, we're going to be introducing our municipal budget tonight, but we're also introducing the proposed budget for Main Street Highland Park. I just wanted to say thanks to Terry and her team for work on the budget, and Kim and Councilwoman Kim Chohan for her leadership on all of these budget processes. One quick thing to notice about the Main Street budget that I think is important: every year the borough makes an additional contribution to Main Street above and beyond the bid tax. And this year, for the first time in a very long time, we're actually going to increase the annual contribution, or propose to increase the annual contribution from $25,000 to $35,000. And the reason for this is that the Main Street staff has really stepped up with their efforts to make sure that the farmers market is accessible to people receiving SNAP and other food benefits. They have a program that effectively doubles the value of food vouchers at the farmers market, and these efforts are really important and crucial at a time until we get our supermarket back. But they do require a fair amount of administrative work and time by the Main Street staff, and we think it's important to increase the borough contribution because this is sort of outside of the normal scope of business development activities for Main Street. But they've taken this on as an important community responsibility. So in addition to a small increase in the bid tax, we're going to propose to increase the contribution to Main Street, and in particular to thank Rebecca Hirsch for helping meet the needs of vulnerable people in our community through these efforts. Also on the agenda tonight, we're introducing the proposed redevelopment plan for the Highland Park Supermarket store lot. For those of you who came to the public meeting a while back, you'll remember that this redevelopment plan allows us to work with the landlord and potential developers to come up with a collaborative plan for a new supermarket in Highland Park. The plan is flexible in many respects except one. That means the one is we need a supermarket on that site. So after tonight, after we're introducing it, it goes to the planning board for a public discussion and hearing to see that it's consistent with master plan, and then it comes back to us for another public hearing and ideally an adoption. So I wanted to again thank our planning team of LRK as well as Terry for her work on that. Lastly, tonight we have two items up concerning water meters. I'm going to talk about one about a program for Shabbat compliant water meters. After we had ordered our water meters, we learned from Josh Brzezinski of the Rock of New Jersey that there was an issue and how these worked. And I just wanted to thank Josh for bringing this to our attention, but then also to thank Councilman Hirsch as the Public Works Chair, and again, Terry, for finding a way around this and to find Shabbat compliant alternatives that we'll be able to install for those who need it. It's a little more expensive than regular ones, but I wanted to thank everybody who's responsible for making this happen. And then lastly, also to all who celebrate, have a very happy Passover. And again, all who celebrate, have a very happy Easter.
Borough Administrator, any report? Sorry, I'm sorry, I got you at the wrong time.
Council President?
Oh, I was going to do Council President last. Okay, Council President, do you have a report?
It's the weather report is that it's hot in here.
It's too hot.
It is warm in here, and it's also warm outside today, and it is baseball season. And special congratulations to all the officers who were sworn in today. Lieutenant Soden, I worked closely with on the Safe Walking and Cycling Committee for several years, and he has really shown himself to be a truly committed public servant and law enforcement officer, who's really looking out for the needs of of our community, particularly when it comes to bicycle and pedestrian safety. Comes to every meeting, Satchow as well, and so we're very fortunate to have somebody like Lieutenant Soden in his position, looking out for the health and well-being of our residents, because public safety also includes, and particularly includes, pedestrian and cycling safety as well. So good evening. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful day. I was going to wear my Mets hat in honor of Lieutenant Soden as a Mets fan, but I'll keep that one off today for the heat. I hope you were able to get outside, see the trees. Everything is in bloom, and it feels really, really amazing outside. And once again, it's just a really good opportunity to get out, speak with your neighbors, reconnect, and just enjoy everything that Highland Park has to offer. A few updates here from Public Works. My name is Matthew Hirsch. I chair the Public Works Committee. Borough offices will be closed on Friday, April 7th, in observance of Good Friday, and the garbage collection schedule is as follows: Monday, or yesterday. Let's start with Wednesday, April 5th. There will be collection in the Business District and Southside garbage districts. Thursday, April 6th, we'll have Southside recycling collection. And Friday, April 7th, there is no recycling or garbage collection, so please take note. Helmets disposal. A helmets disposal drop-off service is offered for any resident to drop off garbage and recycling materials the morning before Passover, April 5th. Helmets disposal will be offered during the hours of 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Department of Public Works at 444 Valentine Street. For additional information, you can please call 732-247-9379 or visit www.hpboro.com. The Borough will also start bulk trash collections, which are scheduled by appointment. Bulk appointments available in April, May, June, September, and October. So please go to www.hpboro.com for more information. Come be a part to beautify our property and address stormwater runoff issues in Highland Park. This is at the Highland Park Public Library. Working in conjunction with Sustainable Highland Park and using grant funds from Sustainable New Jersey, Sustainable Highland Park teamed up with Rutgers Cooperative Extension Water Resources Program to create rain gardens in Highland Park. This initiative is expected to address stormwater runoff issues in our town, and the Highland Park Public Library is proud to be part of this effort. The team at the Water Resources Program has custom designed a rain garden for the library property, which will promote water infiltration as well as beautify the library's exterior. And here's where you come in. We're seeking adult volunteers to help with the actual planting of native plants in the garden, and the site will be prepped in the preceding days. So all you have to do is show up and plant the plants with guidance from representatives from the Rutgers Cooperative Extension. All materials will be supplied, but please come dressed for dirty work. That's sneakers, hiking shoes, loose comfortable clothes, a hat, and bring your own gloves, drinking water, and sun protection. So when is this planting day, you're wondering? This is Saturday, May 6th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 31 North 5th Avenue, and the times are subject to change, so please check this post. Please check for updates, and space is limited. If you have questions, you can reach out directly here, or please contact Jennifer at 732-572-2750, extension 1102, or email her at jsmith, smith, at hpplnj.org to register.
Water meters. I'm sure some of you are aware of the concerns regarding the resolution on tonight's agenda regarding Resolution 423-104, and that's a resolution authorizing billing adjustment for unbilled usage following meter replacement. That clunky language basically illustrates and codifies a billing practice that the borough had already had and now is being memorialized through resolution because of the completion of our water meter replacement program. You'll recall that some key projects in our 2022 capital expenditure were things like our lead service line replacement program and our $1 million meter replacement program. As meters have been replaced, Terry Hover, our business administrator, and the water department have been dealing with unexpected bills on a case-by-case basis. So what happens sometimes is that when people get a new meter put in, there are more accurate readings. And as we have 3,000 meters installed, what we're seeing is accurate readings across the board to promote fairer billing, better readings, and we can do more remote readings as well. However, there are instances where new meters have resulted in unbilled back water payments. Terry Hover and the water department have been dealing with these instances, which are rare, on a case-by-case basis. It has not been frequent or widespread, but it does happen, and we have been able to resolve each issue as it arises. But with the 3,000 meter replacements under our belts, the borough needs to pass this resolution that codifies the borough's existing payment plan options. We understand that while high bills do come in, it remains rare, and we'll continue handling them on a case-by-case basis. And of course, we will monitor any activity when it comes to billing abnormalities, and we'll revise our policy accordingly. The tax office has to have consistent guidance, however, on this, which is why we have to take this action. And finally, the resolution allows us to better anticipate our budget every year and represents the reason we want the meters fixed in the first place, to provide accurate readings across the board and provide a fair and consistent way to deal with billing. If there is any residents who do have an undue hardship can reach out to us directly. There are utility assistance programs that folks can apply to. You can also work out this payment plan with the borough to make sure that you don't fall behind on your water payment. But this is the continuation of a long road to recovery regarding our water meters and billing. And I wanted to offer some additional context. I think we are all, through our personal lives and through our various occupations, acutely aware of that small changes, fees here and there, combined with rising costs everywhere, puts the hurt on families across the board. We understand that. Water rates have continued to rise, and it fits and starts, and it's really a result of cleaning up a big years-long mess. And hopefully we're finally clearing that major hurdle. But once again, when we do pass this, we continue monitoring. We'll get reports from the borough administrator on any billing abnormalities, and we will monitor them accordingly and address our policy accordingly. But our professionals felt that $750 was a fair and reasonable threshold at which to start a payment plan based on the types of billing and abnormalities that have come in. One last point, and so we'll be answering questions about that too. If you have any questions, please direct them in the public comment, and I can answer what I can. Terry can answer some questions about billing. But I did want to mention that the Public Works Committee did meet on March 23rd to review this policy, and we endorsed it for its passage. And we do continue to move forward tonight to get past this final hurdle. One more note, just on a kind of a personal note. This morning, we just saw 4 officers take an oath of office to uphold the U.S. Constitution and the New Jersey Constitution, and we all did too. And I think based on what's going on in Manhattan District Court today, with the arraignment of the first time ever an arraignment of a former president, how solemn that oath is to all of us, and how important that we are here to serve and uphold the Constitution of New Jersey and of the United States, and never take for granted anything that any of the authority that we have up here, except that we absolutely represent you as best as we can, and we really look forward to hearing from you on these and all matters. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Council President. Borough Administrator Javier?
I don't have a report this evening. You'll hear from me during the budget presentation.
Okay. Borough Attorney Bishop?
Nothing this month, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And I must say, I was confused too about the water replacement, but once it was explained, I understood it better, because one of the things that was also explained to me is when they come to replace your meter, it's checked for what the reading is at that time, and when the meter is installed, it's recorded what the afterward meter reading is. So thank you for that great explanation, Council President. And then one of the things that floored me at I went to our Human Relations Commission meeting last month, and they were talking about the hummus. Now, everybody thought it was hummus who was in the meeting. We were like, what is that? And they had to explain exactly what this disposal system was. And it was another opportunity for us to learn a lot about our fellow Jewish brothers and sisters in our community. It was a good piece of education, because all of us that are not of that faith and wasn't aware, we got our education. So again, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tonight is a solemn night in many ways, because Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. The day that lives with us, and pains us. And we cannot begin to thank Dr. King for all the goodwill that he spread and the changes he made in this world. So with that, can we take a moment of silence? Thank you. Okay. Hybrid meetings. Let me jump into that one first. I promised everyone last month that we would have hybrid meeting in April. However, we came upon some technical difficulties with our system going down and some other challenges that we have, and it's not going to be possible for this month, but it should be up and running in May. So stay tuned. In May, we should be going hybrid. Thank you. We are Stop and Shop. It's been a few weeks now since Stop and Shop have closed. And while we mourn the loss of a beloved supermarket in town, I continuously working tirelessly to make sure that we have a supermarket in that space. It has been my number one priority. I have reached out to many groups, organizations, including members of New Jersey Senate and Assembly, such as Assemblyman Stanley and Karabinchek, Senator Deigman, Senators Wicker and Senator Poe and Assemblywoman Sumter. I just keep hounding people to see what is it that they can bring to our town, and what is it they can help us to get a supermarket here. I've also spoken with representation from Wakefern, which is Stop and Shop as you know it, Aldi's, Trader Joe, Tropical, and many other developers that have expressed interest that I've reached out to. However, I do not have the liberty to share their name and their contact information because it's still confidential. We're still trying, we're still dealing with a lot of sensitive issues around this. As you know, the property is not owned by the Borough of Highland Park. It is privately owned. And so there's a lot of talks and details that have to be worked out. But as I said before, I will continue to search, and this will continue to be my number one priority, to bring a supermarket to our town. It will take some time, but the work is ongoing. I just want to thank you for your understanding as I stay focused on this goal to make sure that we have a supermarket in place. With that said, I want to wish everyone a happy and prosperous and healthy holiday season as we go through, though for those who worship, as you go through this religious holiday season. That's my report. And now we're going to move into public discussion. It's now time for public discussion. Total time allotted is 21 minutes, 3 minutes per speaker. Comments may be limited to item on the agenda. If you want to speak of an item that is not listed, please do so at the second public comment later in the meeting. The borough clerk will monitor the time and indicate when 3 minutes has lapsed. She will give you a warning of 30 seconds remaining. There will be a hard stop at 3 minutes to mark and make sure everyone has time to speak. As a reminder, I may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement if it does not adhere to the 3 minutes provided, or if the statement is disruptive to the orderly conduct of the public meeting, is repetitive, and is not on topic that is of relevance to the borough governing body. As you come up to speak, please announce your name, your address, and please speak into the microphone.
Mary Forsberg, 373 Dennison Street, Camden, Illinois. I have a few issues that I'm interested in. One is about this cap that you plan on voting on today. I hope you will not vote in favor of it. There's a reason that local budgets and states have balanced budgets. And just because you passed a reval where, you're telling everybody that their property taxes are going down, I don't see, you have to convince me that you desperately need this. And I think you're putting a budget in place. I don't know why you need to do 1% addition to the 2% cap. So I hope you will not vote in favor of that. One thing in terms of borough finances, I know you bonded since 2015, got bonded authority for various capital projects, and you have had $6 or $7 million spent. I don't know what the status of that is, because I know you have lots of new buildings, but I don't know why you need this additional 1%. So that's one thing that I'm concerned about. The other thing I'm concerned about, and I think this sort of fits in for now, is the reval. I'd like to know when the new tax numbers are going to be posted online. The old tax numbers are no longer available. So it's important that, and I don't know why the old ones were taken down. What did the revaluation actually cost? I know you're paying for it, and we are paying for it over a period of time, but I'd like to know what the total cost of this, and what the cost of the separate 44 properties that were revalued by a different company, what that costs. I know that I have asked at least twice through Oprah's for a complete list of all of the usable property sales that were used as part of the reval to reval people's property, and I've never gotten a response from that twice now. Actually, I've asked 3 times. I just asked yesterday. And I think that is information that should be available to people, because that is an issue of transparency. That's how you came up with the values for our houses. And if the properties that you choose to revalue
30 seconds.
are inappropriate, then you need to know that. I'll come back on this.
Thank you, Mary.
Josh Brzezinski, working?
Yeah, you could hear you.
Josh Brzezinski, 141 North Kent Avenue, Highland Park, New Jersey. Just want to say thank you to for several projects as were mentioned tonight. Number one, the water meter for the Sabbath observant community, and having one that accommodates our religious needs is something that we very much appreciate as a community. I know it was a last minute thing based upon when it all came together. And I apologize to Terry for the extra work that she had to do to redo this whole, whatever it was, paperwork and contracts and what have you. But it's something we all appreciate. All the synagogues received the notice that it's coming in a month, and everybody, I haven't heard any complaints. When 1 or 2 people said they couldn't afford the $10, I said, come to me, I'll take care of it. So hopefully that will work, and I want to thank the mayor and Council President Hirsch and Councilman Hale, who will all work together with Terry and, of course, Harry Glazer to put this all together, and we very much appreciate it. Speaking of thank you, I want to also thank you once again the chametz disposal disposal that we have the day before Passover. It just so happens to be tomorrow morning, and we look forward to once again dumping our chametz in the borough trash facility over at DPW. And again, it's an accommodation you make for us that we're very much appreciative of. And lastly, I wanted to also thank, he left already, Lieutenant Soden, who's, as we know, is the traffic guru in this town. the first one, our synagogue on 27th, the northern department will hopefully one day be only 2 lanes once the road diet comes into fruition. The flashing lights for those who are supposed to stop in the crosswalk, which doesn't always happen, but last year we realized it was off during the holidays because it's a different schedule, so it had to be rescheduled by the Department of Transportation on the state side. And Lieutenant Sullivan took care of that, and hopefully tomorrow we'll find out if it actually happens. But I want to thank him for his work and accommodating us with that as well. So thank you again to everyone. I appreciate it. The Rock appreciates it, and the Orthodox Jewish community of Highland Park appreciates it. All of your hard work on our behalf. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we're still working on that road diet. It's a Department of Transportation, takes a little bit of time.
I can say comments. I didn't want the mic. It's very sensitive. I was very aware.
Okay.
Hi, good evening, Maureen Womack, 416 South 7th Avenue. I have some questions for clarification around the water meter replacement and costs. And I apologize if these questions have already been answered, but I'm looking for clarity, only finding out about it just this evening and rushing over here to ask these questions. So, do we know as a borough how much money or how in debt we are to the water municipality as a whole?
Terry?
I think I need you to clarify your question a little more.
Meaning, if we're finding deficits in individual households, do we know as a whole for the borough an idea of not only how much we would hold as a borough, but also what's the minimum and maximum you've seen the deviations from the internal and external equipment for households? That we can start to like set expectations. What people will say, oh, okay, we've seen something as low as and as high as this.
Right.
Okay. Yes, please.
So it's a tough one to answer because we don't know. We find out when we get in the basement and we take the internal reading. And just if I could take a step back, I'll try to explain how this comes about. And I understand it's esoteric. I had to learn this on the job as well. The majority of our meters are older manual read meters, which by manual, there's a remote on the outside, and some of you may have seen this little box on the outside of your house that's connected to the meter in the basement. The remote on the outside of the house is what the utility workers use, and they come around and literally every quarter they type in the number that's on that meter, and the difference between that reading and the prior reading is what we bill for that quarter. What happens when we get an internal reading, there can be a discrepancy between what the remote was showing and what the meter in the basement was showing. The meter in the basement governs. That's the actual meter. And I can tell you we discover this when we do routine replacements throughout the year. This is a big replacement program, but through the course of a year, we replace a number of them. And also when we do final readings, like when a house exchanges hands, you bring the water company, and we always take it from the basement because we need to make sure the new homeowner doesn't get charged the usage for the prior person. So that's why we do final readings and why we always get either in the basement or a photo. During the pandemic, we started accepting photo evidence. So that discrepancy can happen slowly over time, and I can only tell you my anecdotal experience, having dealt with these in a more ad hoc way with the water department as these have popped up through these more routine, not a town-wide replacement program.
We should also see things like if you've done 3,000 replacements, what percentage have
Well, can I tell you, we haven't done it. So I think I heard the Councilman Hirsch say, we've got 3,000 under our belt. We're about 500 or 700 in. I haven't gotten the. So we're on the way towards 3,000. So
once we're done, what necessitates it is the 3,000 meter installation, and that way we can. Sorry. Sorry?
If it's 500, it's 500.
No, we ordered. So the capital project was 3,000 meters. So we're so it's underway. So it's happening now. We're going to have a result is 3,000 new meters, and so the reason why is when we reach that scale, it was important for the billing department to codify this payment practice that Terry had already had in place.
Would it be good for the borough to understand the percentage of houses that are seeing discrepancies or failures in equipment, and also to understand what you are all going to do to help with paying these, seeing as it was our equipment that failed, not the
we are exploring, we haven't, the problem hasn't occurred as yet. In the event that it does happen, we have looked at many different methods on how to remedy the situation. So there are grant programs out there. There are programs to the state that we would tap into to help with these.
About things that are specific to Highland Park, not just
Yes.
looking for the grant money from the state or the Fed, but actual money in the coffers of Highland Park that can help us deal with the problem that we created on.
We'll be exploring all options.
May I just
Yes,
put one thing on
please.
the record? I just want to be clear, while the remotes may have slowed down in some of these situations, the meters are tested and the meters in the basement are accurate. So I just want to make sure that's clear. And of course, we'll look into every situation individually and explore. The other challenge is sometimes somebody has a high usage not related to that. So we're going to have to, there's no way to know unless we
Go
we
inside.
get the call and we look into it.
Yes, but just to be clear here is, I'm getting my bill every quarter. I expected that to be accurate for the last 16,
Understand?
18 years.
Mhm.
Not to find out 18 years later that there's a deficit because you haven't read my inside meter since 2005.
I understand your point.
Hi, Eric Lipton, 123 South Adelaide. I spoke with Councilman Hirsch before the meeting, and maybe some clarification can be given to everyone. Why do we, for the resolution regarding the water meters, why now? Why this time? It sounds like there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of, well, we don't know yet. Is there a way to, before codifying this 750, 6 months, this whole plan to help people with their reasonable worries of years of unpaid bills suddenly winding up in their mailbox? Can we wait for data? Is there a way to see if lowering it makes sense because we are getting a larger number? Maybe we can look through the 500 so far and see, well, is there a trend going on? Is there a way to see that maybe we do need to go through the trouble of convincing the powers that be that 750 is a bit high? And we can bring that down.
Terry, do you have any comment? We haven't looked at from what was done so far, we have not seen any issues, or have we seen issues?
So the challenge is, there's a whole timing thing with how the program rolls out. So we get as many installed, and then we have to go read for that quarter, so they'll suspend it. Then we'll import all the readings from the meter exchange plus any additional usage between the date of the exchange and the reading, and then we'll calculate the bills. So we haven't had a billing that we're about to get they're going to be out in the field pretty soon.
Okay.
And I don't want to tell you, I always get my tax quarters and my water sewer quarters confused. So we'll have an import and we'll have a better handle on it with the first billing. But the reality is the tax office has to bill. If it's on there, it's got to go out, and we have to, they're going to have to, we can't assume it's due to the meter exchange. They could have had a significant leak.
We can't wait a month to find out?
We can't, we have to bill, otherwise we can't, we have to collect our revenues. So we won't necessarily know if someone's increase is due to their own usage or a catch-up from the internal reading. That's one of the challenges, so we have to kind of see how it plays out when we do the reading.
It sounds to me that caution would dictate going through the trouble of lowering it now, since you don't know. Let's err on the side of compassion for residents with potentially very high bills. Is that possible?
What I hear, what Terry is saying is that the tax department have to go out and do their due diligence.
Yes,
they
I'm
have
talking
to.
about the payment plan.
This is just we.
Providing for this situation that nobody who bought a home asked for.
I agree. Nobody who purchased a home asked for this. However, she's saying if something does come up, we're talking hypothetical. It's a blanket like to say, okay, this is as much as we would be looking at. It has not happened yet, but we have to put some numbers in for our accounting purposes, and this is where we are with that. Am I correct, Terry?
So why can't it be?
Terry,
So,
can I
Yes.
weigh in? Was it mostly like a auditing type thing? Because we were like, I think what was happening, bills would come in, we'd pass resolutions, and then it's like, it brings red flags that we're like manually moving residents' bill because of a leak or because of it. Was that more of it? I think like part of it. If I remember vaguely, something in finance was like brought up like that.
I wouldn't say it quite that way, but I do think we did run this past the auditor, the CFO, and
Yeah.
the finance director were the ones who crafted a lot of this based on their experiences. But ultimately, it's a policy decision. That dollar value.
Okay, policy decision. Go for it. Thank you.
I will say, thank you, Eric. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Eric. And those are thresholds that we considered. For now, we are comfortable taking the recommendation of our borough administrator and our professionals to remain at that threshold. And the reason why we feel that that's or why we are informed that that's a reasonable threshold is because the consistency of the billing that has come in has fallen well below that. So we're going to look out for these high bills. The Public Works Committee meets once a month. We will get reporting out on any abnormality in billing, and we're going to monitor this closely because, thank you, Eric, for identifying that it is a policy decision. And in this instance, right now, we're taking the recommendation that 750 is a reasonable threshold. Thank you, Mayor.
Mary Forsberg again.
Tom?
Back on the revale. I listened to your March 22nd, 2023 meeting where we talked about the budget. And you started off talking about being and congratulating each other on the fact that you say that the average taxpayer in Highland Park is going to have a $750 property tax reduction in their bill. That's not the way revaluations work. I mean, the way revaluations work is a third of people's taxes go up, a third go down, and a third stay the same. Now, I would like to see some numbers. I'd like to know, I've talked to a lot of people, and pretty much everybody I know, their taxes are going down. But it can't possibly be the case with the borough. So does that mean that the 44 properties that were revalued separately are going to bear the burden? And their garden apartments, their businesses, all of whom will have attorneys who will challenge their taxes. I would like some numbers on the reval. I want to know what the new property taxes are, and I also want to know, as I said before, what the usable sales were. So I think that somebody needs to do some kind of an analysis. I saw Newark's analysis of when they had a reval many years ago, of course. But they looked at where property taxes went up and where they went down and where they stayed the same. And I think Highland Park, that's a big issue. I mean, not everybody's taxes are going down. And I think you're creating a false picture out there for what's going on. I have one other question about Main Street, Highland Park. Who pays the EID?
It's the landlords in the bid district on Main Street.
What is the district?
It's the length of Main Street up through about 9th Avenue on Woodbridge.
And on Raritan, too.
Raritan all the way up. I think it goes, is it 7th or 9th? I'm not sure if it's 7th or
On
9th.
Woodbridge, I think it might go up to 11th, and then on Raritan, it might be 8th or 9th.
Yeah.
I'd have to check the boundaries.
I think it's 8th or 9th on Raritan, and on Woodbridge, I think it does go up to 11. Is my
And it is,
Yeah, 'cause
and
they
it's
just increased that area.
it's
going
commercial
upward.
properties.
Yeah.
and it's commercial properties that are there.
Does that include side streets? Does that include professional offices on side streets?
No,
And it doesn't, it's only Raritan Avenue?
correct.
So So someone who has a business on North Second is not paying a VIP?
Honestly,
like
I have
for-
to look at the map.
Can you give me an example of a business on North Second that's not on Raritan?
Can you think, I know of one, but I don't know that he wants me to mention it.
We happy to check the specifics on that. My understanding is that it's not off on the side streets. It's on the bid district is right on Raritan Avenue.
Okay. Well, how about, okay, so on North Third, how about,
30 seconds.
Again, rather than speculate, let me just double check and make sure that I've got my facts right. But my understanding is that it is on the ones on Raritan Avenue.
And is it on their revenue, or what is it levied on?
It's a percentage of there's an amount that is raised, and there's a percentage divided up by the businesses. So the businesses all pay in a share to the overall revenue cap, and it's about $190,000 a year in total.
So you take the $190,000 and divide it by the 20 businesses? That
By the
are-
various number of businesses. So
Not with no, I mean, it doesn't matter how big or small they are.
go ahead, Terry. Let
It's
let
similar
Terry.
to how we establish the tax rate for the town. You take the amount to be raised for the bid, which is what's in the resolution, I don't have the number off the top, and you divide it by the value of the properties that are in the taxable district, and that is where the rate comes
The
from.
value being property.
The property value, the reassessed value.
Whatever
You're
the
right.
assessed value is.
Yeah, it's similar to how we establish the tax rate.
So the person who owns the property is
It's the
paying,
property
not the
owner, not the
person who has
business owner.
Correct.
It may get passed on to the business in the form of rent or what have
But
you.
it is the landlords who are the ones who are responsible for it. They may pass it on to businesses, they may not. It depends on the various places.
So, so my issue is the 1% increase, the cap, increasing the cap. Can someone explain to me why that is a critical thing to
Time.
consider?
Thank
And
you.
also, can somebody answer why none of the numbers on the reval are available yet?
Stephanie?
So as far as the reval, and I know you had mentioned a few things on there. The final assessed values are on the county website, correct, Terry? And also, as far as I think you mentioned the 44 unique properties. Some was that was garden apartments, and some was other properties as well too. I don't think it's a false picture that's there. What happened for years and years and years, our large garden apartments and different specialty properties were very undervalued, and unfortunately, the residents, when I say residential homes, that fell on them, that fell on those taxpayers, that fell on new construction homes in town, that fell on someone like me that purchased a home in between there, and the prior buyer got away until the tax assessor saw my NMLS and said, hey, this whole house has been renovated. You now are responsible for my estimate of the new tax rate. And versus my neighbors that wasn't paying those rates. So we were kind of all over the map here. Most of the people, residents, did receive a decrease because unfortunately you were carrying the backs of some of the commercial properties here, and you were for a very long time. Lucky for me, I wasn't carrying that load for a long time because I just bought my property, but it's kind of even now. I must say, if garden apartments or different properties were being sold, and we would only catch it during the sales when we see, wow, look at this tax rate versus what everyone else is paying. It wasn't fair. It wasn't right. You had a lot of people that was purchasing homes as new buyers going and appealing at the county tax board, and they were getting approved left and right because the county knew that we were just all over the board because we hadn't done it in 30 plus years.
Can I just say one more thing?
Actually, we are out of public comment for this session.
Okay.
So can you please come back? Thank you. Ordinances requiring second reading. Ordinance 12A, 12A. What do I do? Special reading. Clerk, can you please report on ordinance number 23-2068?
Calendar year ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A:4-45.14, was duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publications are on file. The ordinance was also posted and made available for public inspection as required by law.
Public hearing. Seeing that there's none. Motion to adopt or reject?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han,
Yes.
Councilman Postelnick.
Yes.
Ordinance 12B, ordinance number 23-2069. Ordinance amending and supplemented the Code of Borough of Highland Park, Chapter 7, Traffic, Schedule X, Stop Intersection. Clerk, can you please report on ordinance 23-2069?
An ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Borough of Highland Park, Chapter 7, Traffic, Schedule X, Stop Intersections, was duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance was also posted and made available for public inspection as required by law.
Public hearing. Seeing there's none, motion to adopt or reject?
I'll move it.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han,
Yes.
Councilman Postelnick.
Yes.
Number 13, ordinance requiring first reading. 13A, ordinance number 23-270, an ordinance amending Chapter 9 concerning the expiration of term of members of various boards and commissions. Committees. Clerk, can you please report on ordinance 23-2070?
An ordinance of the Borough of Highland Park in Middlesex County amending Chapter 9 concerning the expiration of terms for members of various boards and committees and commissions has been introduced in writing by the Economic Development Planning Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
Motion to approve or reject?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes, and this is one of those unglamorous administrative cleanups that will make everyone's life much more efficient and easier, and it will facilitate the ability of our boards and commissions to operate with more foresight and planning. So absolutely, yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han,
Yes.
Councilman Postelnick.
Yes.
13B, ordinance number 23-2071, ordinance the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, authorizing the adoption of 42-424 Raritan Avenue redevelopment plan pursuant to our local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A.28-1 ESQ. Clerk, can you please report on introduction of ordinance number 23-2071?
An ordinance of the Borough Council of the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, authorizing the adoption of the 424 Raritan Avenue redevelopment plan pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1, et sec, has been introduced in writing by the Economic Development and Planning Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
Motion to approve or reject?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Hale,
Just to be clear, this is the supermarket redevelopment. It's a lot of words in there, but this is the about the supermarket lot. So yes, wholeheartedly.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes, absolutely.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han,
Yes.
Councilman Postelnick.
An extremely enthusiastic yes.
Okay, resolution requiring a separate reading. 14A, 4-2 2398, resolution authorizing introduction of 2023 municipal budget by title and schedule public hearing for May 2nd, 2023. Clerk, please report on 2023 municipal budget.
Municipal budget of the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex for fiscal year 2023. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2023. Be it further resolved that said budget be published in the Home News Tribune and issued on April 11, 2023. The governing body of the Borough of Highland Park does hereby approve the following as the budget for the year 2023. Notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the council members of the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex on April 4, 2023. The hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at Borough Hall on May 2nd, 2023 at 7 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2023 may be presented by taxpayers or any other interested parties.
Okay. Budget presentation, Board Administrator.
All right, I'm going to run over to
And my allergies are kicking in.
I'm going to use, I don't have an extension cord. Oh, no. No. Sorry, give me 1 second.
It happens to Steve Jobs, and he was doing the Apple presentation. You're good.
I tell you, it doesn't happen to me. I don't like it. Well, that is not normal. Oh, are you a computer whiz? Well, I gotta turn this so I can touch it. Give me 1 second. What is that? Have you ever seen that screen in your entire life?
No.
No.
How, I can't figure out, there's no...
without your data.
Maybe close down and start again.
Press
No,
Alt
no.
F4
Oh, no. We have work for you.
You're in something.
or Alt Tab or something.
Right down here is the Microsoft
Yeah,
Edge icon that you
but I
want.
can't, no, I want to figure it out.
Windows, am I right?
I know.
Some technical difficulties. We're waiting through it.
I am really
Oh,
sorry.
here we go. We're getting there.
No, but it won't, when I try to launch it,
You want?
I didn't have time before. Well, I can wing it.
Thank you, Abby. We were dying in here. It's so hot.
Thank you. Oh, for the love of it.
Do you usually use that as a mouse? Or do you have
No, I
an external
haven't.
mouse? Try that, because this, the
Do you
trackpads
have
can be
the,
difficult.
is the bag down here?
No.
It's okay. Take your
Is
time.
the bag down here?
Just a few minutes. We'll have it up and running.
Leave that open. That's what you want.
Yeah, but this.
Might just be able to hit escape.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have launched it.
Here.
Is that your bag?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you to
Yeah.
I
press.
couldn't. But how do you get it
I
to?
use Windows. That's all.
No, I do, yeah. No,
So
I
do
know.
I. I've never had that happen.
Where is it, though?
That's what I'm saying. It's like that screen is taking.
There you
Oh,
go.
there it is.
Here we
Thank
go.
you. Okay.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay with the hammer trick.
God,
Back to schedule meeting.
I'm usually confident.
Councilwoman Kim Chonan, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Give a round of applause.
Mac, though. For some
Okay.
It's launched in a weird way.
Is it working now?
Is that the one? Is there a different one?
No, I don't think it's gonna let me use the clicker.
Where do you want to open it?
I wanted to view full screen.
Would you want to open it in
In
PowerPoint?
Acrobat.
No, this is
No, it's a
PDF.
No, it isn't. This is that edge thing. It's in
But you
blue.
gotta right click on it and press.
It's up.
No, go back
All right,
to the file.
Paul,
Yeah.
you're gonna change slides for me.
Sure.
It should work. You just gotta open it in PowerPoint.
It's not a PowerPoint, it's
Here.
a PDF, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
this is open on PDF.
No,
Perfect.
Just
Oh, but
trust me.
go
Trust me.
back to the file.
Just please. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. Paul's gonna help me out.
Sure.
Sorry about that. You want me to try?
Back to a regular schedule program. We'll have the budget introduction now. Please take a moment to look to my right.
It's gone now.
You want me to try real fast or no? I put it on full screen for you.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Figured out full screen with the remote?
No, probably not, because I just did that. I didn't go out of. Oh, it is.
there you go.
Okay, okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, so, okay, great.
All right, this is folksy. Sorry about that. I'm just going to use this to prop up my slides. So, thank you. For those of you who've seen this presentation before, the formatting is familiar, but the numbers are updated, and I'm going to touch on some of the things we've already talked about, but hopefully they'll pull together. One thing I would like to just mention, the public hearing on this is on May 2nd, excuse me. So we're just here to present some information, and these slides will be made available on our website, as well as the budget documents themselves will be on our website and available at the clerk's office. So this is just intended to be an orientation and an overview, and you'll have an opportunity over the next month to look into it further should you have any questions or ask later in the second. So, assuming my remote will still work, yay. Just to take a quick, we're going to start kind of out and work my way down to the municipal budget. But this year, and I have to put on my cheaters, because I can't look this way, we're looking at a total amount to be raised by property tax increase of over $2 million. And that is a larger than usual increase, and I'll get into some of the reasons why. One of the reasons why has to do, Stephanie alluded to it earlier, we got our updated numbers from Middlesex County in terms of what the borough's share of the county taxes are. And they did go up as a result of the reval, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So that's a big chunk, over $1 million of that chunk is Middlesex County taxes owed. But also, you will notice in the next line, our total assessed value went up by $1.5 billion plus, and that's because of the reval and getting all the values as close to market value as possible. And so we knew we were low, we were ordered to do the revaluation because we were low, and the numbers have borne that out. And as a result, the 2022 rate, for point of example, was 8.5 per $100 of assessed value. And now, in 2023, the estimated, based on the numbers I have here, the borough budget, as well as what the schools have told us is their budget, as well as the county, we're looking at a rate of 2.492, a decrease of 6 points there. So that's kind of, we talked about the pie earlier when we started about the reval, and that's how it kind of plays out. And then the amount for the average property tax bill, which is the average assessment on a residential home, in 2022, that number was $12,440.24, and based on the numbers that I'm presenting today, the proposed budget, as well as the numbers I have in the schools, that average assessed bill annually would be $11,960.81. So that's a decrease of $479, which was noted earlier was a higher number during the budget work session, and the change between the budget work session and this moment is I got the county numbers. And so the only number, I'm still waiting to hear what the open space tax number is. However, I was told it's not going to be a large jump like the bulk of the rest of the taxes. So the headline on this slide is the average property tax bill will decrease by $479.43. Average property tax bill being for a house that is valued at $479.98, just to give you some orientation. And our budget will have to be reviewed by the state. There's a couple more steps, and then once that rate will get codified once we get all of our approvals. Go to the next one. So here's the pie chart of how it breaks down, where this distribution goes. So this new, and I forgot to change the number 2022 under there, so I did say that, but the 2023 tax levy of $53,487,473.63, 60% of that levy, that amount to be raised, goes to the schools. Our 4 schools in town, and I believe the school board had their budget presentation fairly recently, so some of you may have, and their increase is about 3%, if I'm correct. 26% goes to the municipal budget. That covers all of our operations: police, fire, garbage, roads, court, recreation, aging, administration, finance, pretty much anything in the day-to-day in that operating budget. 26% of that bill that goes out is municipal. 12%, it used to be 10%, so to give you an order of magnitude of that change in the bill, but we're basically now we are paying our fair share of the county taxes, just like Stephanie explained. All the properties in town are now paying their fair share of the local tax burden. And so previously it was 10, it's now closer to 12% based on the numbers I was given. There's 1% of that is that open space tax, which is money that can go towards new acquisitions and new facilities, grants and things, which we will be pursuing hopefully this year. And then 1% of this pie goes toward the library in the form of the statutory minimum amount the borough has to pay towards its public library. There's a statute that governs that, and it's based on our overall assessed value, and that amount is $528,201.50. However, the borough goes above and beyond by about 2 times that required amount, and the proposed budget for the library this year is $1.139 million. I'll drill down into that in one of the future slides. So essentially, the borough's portion of this pie chart is 26%. However, we're responsible for collecting all of it and remitting it to the schools, remitting it to the county, and also using it to support our own budget. All right, and just to drill down on that, just a little, just to give a sense, going back to that average property tax bill, and let me just double check, I changed my numbers because now I'm more, I didn't. I think I made a mistake. I apologize. I will have to double check those numbers, I'm feeling insecure. I don't have the numbers now. But in a nutshell, the average property tax bill with this new budget is $11,960.81, which is why I think that number is incorrect. So I apologize, and I will update those numbers. I will double check them before I post them on the website. But just to give you a sense of, let me just go to the next slide, how that plays out when we talk about the municipal portion, which is the part that the governing body here is responsible for approving. This year, as compared to 2022, we're proposing a $19,397,369.31 total appropriations. And that's about a change of $332,000 from the prior year. I will note some of the increase, that number is an exact number, but it is not reflecting the fact that we had a significant change in grant income. Last year we had an unusually large number of grants, which increased our total appropriations, but we had revenues to offset those appropriations. So while the net change in appropriations is $332,000, the amount to be raised by taxes is actually increasing by $595,617.66. So over last year, excuse me. Again, looking at our total, I'm just kind of walking through the same analysis as before. The total assessed value went up considerably, and we're now at $1.5 billion as opposed to $594 million. So when you factor that in and you do look at the average municipal tax per average residential assessment, the bill for the municipal portion in 2022 was $3,338, and now that number is $3,157, or a decrease of $180.72 per year. So again, a net decrease due to the fact that we've all gotten revalued, all the properties are paying their appropriate amount towards the levy. So I just want to double check. One of the areas where our appropriations were high outside of our control, the state health benefits plan, you may have read some of the news articles and things lately, went up considerably. Our costs went up, our premiums went up by 24%. So in our budget, we had to absorb $172,000 additional over last year to cover those costs. Another big jump in cost was in police and fire retirement. The bill went up by $135,000 this year. Again, a number we don't dictate here. We have to pay that though every year. Police salary and wages went up as they do. I'm kind of picking some of the harder ones because it's a pretty aggressive pay schedule, and we're trying to remain competitive with our neighboring communities. And we had a lot of buildings and grounds increase, including a custodial contract that we've taken on recently, as well as a number of renovation projects and other upkeep projects, and some parks projects that we want to try to get on top of this year. So just following the same format, breaking down the pie chart for the total municipal appropriations is at $19,789,000, and I'm just going to double check the numbers. Why are my numbers? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to double check these. But I know the percentages are correct. It's 27%, and this pie chart, I did compare it to last year, did not change tremendously. The proportionality is pretty similar to last year. The biggest change was in grants, where it went down from 6% last year to 2% this year. There are more grants that will come online, but they're not secure yet, so we can't include them in the budget at this time. For example, we went after a grant from FEMA for firefighter hires. So 27% of this pie chart of the municipal budget is public safety. That's police, dispatch, fire, court. That's what's in that bucket. 19% is general services and administration. 17% public works, exclusive of major road projects. Those are handled as capital ordinances. That's a distinction. But routine maintenance, garbage, recycling, buildings and grounds, all of those things would be included in that line. We did see, and I didn't mention it previously, but in addition to health insurance costs going up, our liability insurance costs went up. So that's an area where the 20% statutory and insurance statutory are those pension payments I mentioned, Social Security, unemployment, general liability, as well as the health insurance I did mention previously. 9% goes to our capital improvement fund and debt, 6% library. So that amount over the statutory I mentioned before is about $611,000. And then the 2% for grants are reflected in that number as well. So last but not least, just touching on the water and sewer utility budget. This year what's being proposed is $5.74500. The way that budget is supported is the rents, or what normal people would call billings, that we put out for water consumption and sewer processing, and some connection fees that we get throughout the course of the year. The key appropriations include the operations and maintenance contract that we have with Middlesex Water, USA Highland Park, to do the day-to-day operations, as well as purchase of water, sewer treatment, and debt service. Those 4 items alone make up 83% of that $5.7 million. So, and just to highlight, we have some key projects in 2023, the Borough meter replacement program, which we already talked about, as well as the Woodridge Avenue water main replacement that we're doing with Middlesex County as we do the road improvement on the portion of the road from 11th up to the Edison border. So that's a big water main project that's on deck to happen this year, hopefully going out to bid soon. And then last, I just thought I'd touch on some of the capital improvement plan. And again, this is built into the plan. These are just a couple of the items that are built in. All of these would be subject to the governing body approval, and there would be separate ordinances authorizing any of these expenditures. But these are some of the things we identified as being important for us to try to look at for this year, or potentially next year if we can't do it all in 1 year. But building upgrades to the community center roof and bathroom renovation project, that's something we're working on. We're also looking at outside funding to see if we can support that through some other means, but we need to put it in the capital budget, because if that doesn't come through, we're going to have to take action. We slated the Felton Avenue tot lot for an upgrade in the amount of $100,000. Again, we're going to try to get some county funding for that project, but we need to have something in our budget that will allow us to go ahead and secure the funds for that. Public Works, we're in need of a new garbage and recycling truck. Again, we've got some grant funds. We actually want to try to get an electric one, which would be a little more than $400,000. So we're waiting on that before we buy anything without that support. And some other replacement vehicles for Public Works, as we have a lot of 1990 specials over there. We're going to need a new 911 system in the police department. It's a mandate that we're going to have to follow through on. $165,000, so we put that in the capital plan. And a fire engine replacement, if not this year, pretty soon. And we're also pursuing other outlets for that funding as well. But that's a big ticket item. But our engines are, I think, about 30 years old, and we're starting to have to prop that up with a lot of maintenance that we're going to have to get out ahead of. And lastly, in the utility, we have a capital plan that we'll be looking at. One of the things we want to prioritize are the category 4 and 5 repairs. These were identified by Middlesex Water Company following our TV inspection of the whole system, categorizing the worst ones, the 4s and the 5s, in our sewer system. So we're going to come back to the council with a proposal for the first wave of those repairs this year. So that's what I have prepared. I have to apologize for that slip in the numbers. I have a feeling I may have saved the wrong version when I PDF. So before I post these, I will make sure my numbers are 100% correct. The percentages I know are correct. So order of magnitude, I'm confident, but I do apologize if that was confusing. It threw me off. But Mayor, if you have any questions now, or again, we do have the public hearing coming up, and the documents will be available on our website as well as in the clerk's office should somebody want to get under the hood, and I'm always available to answer questions.
No questions at this time. Any council members? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Terry. And now we're going to ask for a motion to adopt or reject on first reading. Municipal budget on first reading. Motion.
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 Oh,
Second.
no, Stephanie, I'm sorry. No. Sorry. Stephanie.
Stephanie, okay. Okay.
Sorry. Knee jerk. Sorry.
Roll call.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han,
Yes.
Councilman Postelnick.
Yes.
14B, 4-23-99, resolution authorizing introduction of 2023 Main Street Highland Park budget by title and set public hearing for May 2nd, 2023. Clerk, can you please report on introduction of the 2023 Main Street budget?
By the Borough Council of the Borough of Highland Park, the following statements of revenue appropriation shall constitute the Main Street Highland Park budget for the year 2023. Said budget shall be published in the Home News Tribune in the issue of April 11, 2023. The governing body of the Borough of Highland Park does hereby approve the Main Street budget for the year 2023. Notice is hereby given that the Main Street Highland Park budget and resolution was approved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex on April 4, 2023. A hearing on the Main Street Highland Park Business Improvement District budget will be held on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023 in Borough Hall, 221 South 5th Avenue, at which time and place objections to said budget and resolution for the year 2023 may be presented.
Motion to adopt or
Excuse me,
reject?
Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes. Sure.
Someone caught a typo on, and I just want to make sure it is reflected on the total income on the resolution should read $331,500. It's off by $1,000. It's up, and it was an oversight it was literally a typo. So I just want to make sure the record reflects that.
And you're going to make the adjustments
Yeah,
in the
clerk
corrected
will make
version and put it out.
The numbers all add up. It's just the total's incorrect because it's a word.
Thank you for addressing that. Okay. Motion to adopt or reject?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han,
Yes.
Councilman Postelnick,
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 15A through 15L? M to 15M.
So moved.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Council President Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim Cho-Han,
Yes.
Councilman Pistonik,
Yes, subject to, or except for 15J, I'm going to abstain on the salary resolution, and I just want to note with regard to, what was it, 15E, the water meter replacement and unbilled usage resolution. Just want to note that, I'm voting yes for now with the understanding that there's assistance available for people who are in need, and we're open to adjusting the payment plan threshold and potentially pursuing additional relief for those who need it, as we see as the facts arise later down the road. But yes on that for now.
Okay. Now we move on to appointments. Mayor appointing the following Human Relations Commission members: Wayne John Wang, Anastasia Cherniska. No confirmation needed. Now we're going to move to our second public comments. You have 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes. You can discuss anything, but your comments may be on any topic. The borough clerk will monitor the time and will offer up a 30-second warning when indicated 3 minutes has lapsed. This session will wrap up by 9 p.m. The borough clerk will monitor the time and indicate when the 3 minutes have lapsed. She will give you a warning that says 30 seconds remaining. There will be a hard stop at a 3 minute mark to make sure everyone has time to speak. As a reminder, I may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement if it does not adhere to the 3 minutes provided, and if the statement is disruptive to the orderly conduct of public hearing, or repetitive, or is not on topic of relevance to the borough. Please announce your name and address as you come up to speak and speak into the microphone.
Hi, Abby Stern from now, Harper Street. So I was debating whether or not I should say this because it's always, a little nerve-wracking to say something with regard to the police. But I wanted to mention that when I came here, there was a police car that was idling with its lights on and no one in it because of this gathering, and it did really bother me. And I wanted to just say that Matt Hirsch, what you said about everybody should take their oath. Just because somebody is in a position of leadership doesn't mean that they should be able to go around the law, and it caused a situation which I think was pretty dangerous because the opening for the lot is as big as it is for a reason. It was directly in the opening. I just wanted to say, I think what you said, Matt, about everybody should take their oath seriously and nobody is about the law. I really just wanted to reinforce that and say that I think that should apply to everybody, all our public servants, all our police officers, and I say that with respect. I just wanted to say that clear, that it did bother me, and I did mention it to an officer, and they didn't seem to care about that, so I just wanted to address it. The other thing, I just have a question about the presentation. Fully support all of the money, as much money for the libraries as possible, but I was confused because on the two pie charts, the libraries on both, and I thought that the second one was a subset. So if it's on the first one, I just was confused, and that might help to clarify that.
Sure, it is confusing. So the first pie chart, I should have left it up, I apologize. I was just showing the required statutory minimum tax that we have no discretion over. The state assigns that value to us and we pay it. And that was on the first pie chart where I was showing the overall tax levy. And it was a 1% sliver. So that's what that was. On the subsequent one where I was looking at the municipal budget, by our own choice and the decision of the governing body to support our library, we exceed that by over 600,000, and that 6% does include both sides of that, both the statutory amount. So when you're looking at the municipal budget, that 6% of our overall municipal does include the statutory plus our additional contribution to the public library, the voluntary portion. So that's why it's weird that there's two different slivers, but that's the way the tax rate kind of breaks down. So I felt where it's confusing, it depends on which side of the equation you look at, but that's what that is.
Okay, I'm back. Mary Forsberg, 217 Genesis. You all voted unanimously to establish a cap bank, and there's been no discussion about it. I'd like to have somebody explain to me why it is important for Highland Park to establish a cap bank and add 1% to our budget.
Borough Administrator?
This is probably a better question for our CFO to answer, but the bank allows us to bank, I should probably defer to the CFO, and Mary, if you want to send me an email, I'll get you a more thoughtful answer. But it's, the way you phrased your question, I don't believe is how a cap bank works, but I just don't want to say something incorrectly here.
Thank you.
But all of you voted in favor of it. Do any of you understand why you did that?
I can tell you the purpose of it.
Yeah, but please explain to her the purpose.
So it allows us to bank unused, they set the maximum, there's appropriations within the cap that the state sends and appropriations outside. Occasionally, you'll have a budget year where things like your health insurance goes up 25% or other things go up, things that are within the cap go up beyond what you can afford within the cap. And you can draw upon that bank to do so.
It's like a surplus.
Huh?
It's like a surplus.
But it's not money it's not 1% that we're putting in a bank for the future. That's why the way you said your question isn't, but the way the language reads is probably pretty technical because that's what we're required to adopt for a cap bank ordinance. But it allows you to reserve unused cap appropriations within cap for a future if you have a future need. That's my understanding. But our budget doesn't have 1% in it to go toward a crap bank. So I'll get you a better, clearer answer. But this is an ordinance we pass annually, just to be clear. This is not an out of the ordinary occurrence.
Seeing that there's no additional public comment, we have to go into our work session, but there's no formal action. So we're going to forego a 5-minute break, council members?
So we have an executive session.
Okay, so we're going to forego our break.
We have to go to
And then, yes, no, but no work session action. And now we go into executive session.
So we need to pass the resolution.
I think we
Motion
Motion to go into executive
to
session.
go into executive session.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Have a safe and
Good
wonderful
night.
holiday. For all those who are observing, be safe.